Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda. All right, we're back. We're talking powerlifting, and it's great to see all the schools that we had. And we were able to go out there and cover the girls, but the guys went on Saturday, and Grant got us some footage on the guys too. But we'll talk about the girls first from Edie White. Grant Chesson, the coach, he joins us now from Zoom. Coach, good to see you. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, yeah, we're doing good. And just great to see all the fun that the girls were having on Saturday, and I'm sure the boys had just as much fun. I'm sorry, the girls won Friday, boys won Saturday.
Right.
But, what's it like? You coach football, so weightlifting goes with football, but this is such a great sport to complement a lot of things, isn't it?
It does. We have such a strong strength conditioning program here at ED White. So it's kind of like we just take the kids that, are looking to fill in the gaps between maybe a fall and spring sport or just in a fall sport. And, we see somebody moving some weight around in the weight room and say, hey, you ever thought about powerlifting before? And like, well, what's that? And all of a sudden we got them in a squat suit and a bench shirt, and they're doing all these things and they're loving it. And once they start, they kind of get the bug, and then it's like, wow, okay, I really want to get stronger. And it's just been so beneficial for other sports as well.
You had Catherine Falgu and Annie Newchurch on Friday. Talk about those two young ladies a little bit.
Yes. So Catherine was a 4-year lifter for us, 4-year letterman. She is a senior this year, so that was her last meet. But she's been one that's continuously grown over the course of her career. She knew how to set goals and put work into it to get to the next goal and to the next achievement. So really, really proud of her. She gave it her all for her last meet. Annie is a junior, so this is her second year making it to state. So she's just so excited and so energetic to be there. And, she, like many of the powerlifters, beat themselves up a lot for certain failures here and there, but she was hitting PRs and she was breaking her own records, and we were so proud of her. So both girls gave it their all, and we're just very, very proud of the way they represented our school and program.
Yeah, and I see, a lot of the coaches, the camaraderie on this is pretty good too. I love the way the coaches work with all the schools and encourage the kids from all the schools, because it really is a unique sport. But I was most impressed by the crowds that go see these events.
Absolutely. Well, every organization, has their own, way of putting on their show and for spectators. But I've just been amazed at LHSPLA for the past 8 years at the structure and the organization that they put into these powerlifting meets, and they really make it exciting to watch. And they figured out how to keep it clean and keep it organized. And, doing that helps, number one, the athletes and the coaches, but number two, as a grandma or grandpa going to a powerlifting meet for the first time, it's kind of like, what do I expect? And then all of a sudden there's a platform, there's the heat that they're in, there's the number that they're going to lift, and all of a sudden it makes it easier for you to follow. So I think people and spectators really enjoy it and seeing it for the first time, especially in, the Pontchartrain Center, or, we've been at the Cajun Dome and all these places. So they do a really, really good job of organizing the event.
And I appreciate the Louisiana High School Athletic Association letting us get on the ground floor and letting us, just as long as we don't impede the weightlifters, but they were cognizant of the fact that we were there. And also it shows that they don't care if we're there or not. They don't care if you got a few hundred people in the stand. They're zoned in, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think most coaches who have figured it out try to create the distraction at practice and just kind of be mindful and put them in that situation of, hey, you got to visualize 1,000 people watching you right now. And once they start kind of getting that anxiety out of the way, it just becomes me and the weights. And that's what I love about the sport too, is it really is you versus you. Like, you can look at what other kids are lifting and what other competitors are lifting, but all that matters is what you can do. And that's always been my favorite part about powerlifting in general.
Well, Edie White has a strong program across the board and things. So being in front of a crowd should not really sway anybody either way. They're used to going to games where they see crowds all over the place. So I guess one sport sort of bleeds into the other, and you get used to it, right?
I think so. Just, you know, we kind of train them to use the anxiety as fuel and kind of reframe it that way. So, being around spectators, because, most of these athletes, especially the kids at our school, they've been through events, like you said. Mom and dad have watched everything. They've done dance recitals, they've done soccer games, they've done it all for their whole career. So, being in front of a crowd it kind of is one of the main things they enjoy, if anything. So, lifting by yourself with Coach Badgerow and Coach Grant gets kind of boring, but lifting in front of 1,000 people, that's fun.
That's a good point. Yeah. Let them go and let them thrive. Let's do this,
Right.
Coach. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about the guys on Saturday. And we appreciate you
Okay.
joining us. So we'll take a break here on Bayou Time Sports, and we'll be back to talk about the Edie White boys. Stay tuned for more Bayou Time Sports, brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems and Barker Honda. All right, we're back. We're going to talk about Edie White's boys powerlifting with Coach Grant Chesson, who joins us once again by Zoom. And Coach, let's switch over to the boys. You had a few of them there, right?
Yes, sir. We had 4 boys compete. Cooper Bolello, junior, Ray Badgerow, sophomore, James Matassa, junior, and Ben Blanchard, senior.
All right, now see y'all have it. Explain to the audience when you get to those weight classes, the significance of that, because naturally you don't want some big offensive lineman lifting against some wide receiver kind of thing. So explain all that to us.
Sure. So basically, you break it down into 11 weight categories, and you can't have any more than 2 lifters per category. So, initially when people think powerlifting, they're thinking, the big, strong offensive linemen at Edie White are going to go and dominate, but we can only have 2 linemen in a certain category. So you need to kind of fill in the gaps for all the weight categories. So you essentially compete with everybody in your weight class up to that weight limit. And it's usually about a 16-pound range. And that allows them to, keep it consistent. You weigh in, you have to make weight 24 hours before the meet. And once you do that, it's kind of a free range. So while some of them might say 132 or 148, after that meal after weigh-ins, they may end up being about 157, 159. So keeping it consistent like that is similar to wrestling. So that allows them to compete in an even playing field.
Can you overcoach weightlifting?
Mm-hmm.
Can you overcoach them in weightlifting, or do you sort of find out where they're comfortable at, and then you sort of back off a little bit?
Absolutely, you can overcoach. Absolutely, find that sweet spot of confidence. There's been a lot of times where Coach Badgerow's final words are, how do I say this TV version? Just hush up and lift. Okay, so when it comes down to it, we kind of just say, look, when it's all said and done, you could have all the straps, all the gear, all the shoes, all the suits, but just go lift the weight. And, that kind of just simplifies things, takes the nerves away. So we say that a lot.
That sounds like Chris, huh?
Yeah, he doesn't have daughters like me. So I'm kind of the soft one. He's a little bit more, hey, just go lift.
So y'all compliment each other. Pretty
That's
good.
right. That's right.
Talk
That's
about
right.
the sport. It's grown pretty well, and it's fun to watch. It's a long day. If you plan on going, it's a long day, but it's fun to watch. And that was from Dwayne's camera vantage point, as you can see, and all the teams are huddled up. Of course, we're looking at the girls behind the scenes, but and that was the opening ceremony. There's a lot of things happening.
Oh, absolutely. So the president, Joe Ryan, had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, the business meeting, that about 9 years ago, they were at 112 schools, and now we've encompassed 200 schools easily. So it's a major, major, major event, and it's just constantly growing. So with that being said, it's just something that, like you said, it's so fun to watch. It's tiring when you think about it, a 7, 8 hour day, but if you can try to maybe find a book or something to fill in the gaps, usually you're able to get by. But yeah, you got to clear your schedule to come do this. But when your son or daughter or nephew, grandchild is up, I mean, it's like everybody's rolling. So,
Yeah, what does it mean to you? When did you start getting involved in powerlifting?
we were kind of just finding a way to have essentially something for these guys who didn't play basketball, didn't play baseball, didn't play track. So we said, look, y'all want to try powerlifting? Play football, pretty smart. You've been working out for a long time. So that's kind of how it started. And where I thought would be maybe 4 or 5 guys competing ended up being, a full team of 11 boys and 11 girls for the last 8 or 7 years. So once we started, we kind of got hooked and kind of figured out the sport and the scheme behind it.
Yeah, and I'm hearing some talking. I guess somebody's on the PA at EDY. Somebody's giving announcements right now.
They're sending the dogs out for Grant Chasson. Miss Chasson said he should get back to class.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff. So, where do you think powerlifting is going from here?
Oh, it's just going to continue to grow. I mean, every year you just see it completely adding more schools, adding more coaches, adding more kids per school, and people just become addicted to it. I mean, once you start, it's really just such a fun atmosphere. Like you said, the camaraderie. Like, yes, there's competitiveness, but if you ask any coach for advice, you ask any other lifter for a spot or something in warm-ups, they're all going to help each other out. So it's really a cool sport in that aspect. It's a lot different than football, I guess you could say.
Yes,
so,
it is.
It's not like a Vandy Edie White football rivalry. It's kind of like everybody's in it together.
But it's a lot like track when you think about it. That when we used to be in the high jump pit and talk, we were always trying to help the other person. Like, okay, you took off too early. Make sure your foot. It's everybody's trying to help everybody, and that's great to see at this level.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's really enjoyable. I love it. Our kids do a really great job with it, and when they see the support from other schools and other athletes at these meets, it just inspires them to carry on the torch to our younger athletes, but also anybody that will take their advice or help they can get.
All right, Coach, I appreciate your time. And look, I know your mom's the principal over there, but you can't just be taking all this time off of class. So we're going to let you go back to class and do what you do. But thank you so much for coaching these kids and joining us on HTV, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for the recognition to the sport and promoting it, and our kids really appreciate it, and we look forward to continuing watching it grow.
All right, there you have it. Coach Grant Chasson at ED White. We're going to take a break. Keep checking Facebook, YouTube, HTV, as all the schools that participated in our viewing area will be featured. We'll be back. This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.